team, welcome back to My Tropical Kitchen. And today we are joined by the great and powerful Alethea Timms, an executive sous chef at Nunu. She's a superstar in the kitchen and kind of heads up really a lot of the training of our young members in the team. Fantastic knife skills, great passion for cooking. And today I'm hoping she's going to cook us something super, super delicious. So what are you going to do, buddy?
All right, so today we're going to do some butterfly prawns with a nice beautiful green nahm butter, fresh aromats on top and some nice charred pineapple salsa.
Sounds fucking delicious.
Awesome.
Righto, let's start cooking, bud.
Alrighty, so we'll start off with the nahm.
Yep.
So we're going to do a green nahm today. So we've got our ingredients here. So we've got some ginger, garlic, some coriander root, galangal and some nice green chilies. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop those up a little bit. We're going to pound them down, make a really nice delicious sauce.
Go for it, buddy. You can boss me around as you go.
Alrighty.
So how did you, a Kiwi, find yourself here in far north Queensland and working at Nunu?
Wow, so I was...
So
So where I started in New Zealand, obviously, spent 21 years in a small town called Picton, top of the South Island.
I've been to Picton.
Marlborough.
Picton's a beautiful little town.
It is a very beautiful town. Absolutely love it there. It is a
picturesque.
beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah.
Absolutely miss it. You got the beautiful Marlborough Sounds there. Really, really cool place to grow up, especially.
Yeah.
But like any small town, you kind of get a bit older and you get a bit bored. So that then took me to the North Island. Went up into the North Island to Taranaki for 5 years. Spent 5 years there hanging out with the crew up there. And then worked in a couple of cool places. Worked in a seafood restaurant at a hotel. Rebuilt the restaurant menu. They used to be quite a, just the average sort of hotel, and they wanted to focus on seafood because they were right by the ocean.
Yeah.
So worked together there with the head chef to make that happen. That was a pretty cool experience. Worked my way up the ladder. Had a couple of sous chef and head chef positions there. And then time went on and just wanted to venture out and, make a bit more money.
Well, this seems to be a common thread. So many New Zealanders that I've met in the hospitality industry who find their way to Australia, and largely, you're such an incredible country, New Zealand, with amazing produce, and yet they find themselves here just because of the conditions and the pay being very different. It just seems to be a story that pops up over and over and over again.
Yep. Yeah, so it's definitely, especially for hospitality workers, Australia is definitely a lot more up there with the wage. A lot of Kiwis will come this way. They definitely tend to stay quite a while. So my initial idea was to come over for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I had my sister and my niece, who was almost 1 at the time, and she was pregnant with my nephew.
Yeah.
So decided to come over and hang out with them for a while.
And did they stay?
Yeah, so they were here for many years. So I lived with them for 9 months and worked in Noosa and hung out and worked in some cool places there.
And is that where you were introduced to galangal? I can't imagine there was a heap of galangal in the South Island of
Definitely not
New Zealand.
In the South Island. So my first experience with galangal was definitely at the Spirit House on the sunny coast.
Very, very famous, very beautiful restaurant.
Yeah, very awesome place. So I started there. I was working at a couple of places as in a senior role.
Yep.
And decided that I wanted to cook something different, learn something new, and upskill myself. So decided to go work at the Spirit House. Started from the bottom. Worked my way up.
As we all did.
So I went in, learned everything that I possibly could as a junior.
Yep.
And then worked my way up to sous chef, and learned so much.
And that to me, if I think of you in the kitchen at Nunu these days, you're so passionate about the junior team and their skills and really trying to invest in them and ensure them against the future, like get them the skills to make those big leaps that you have to do sometimes.
Yep.
And so what was your training prior to Spirit House? I mean, what sort of food were you cooking?
So
Back
I
home?
did my training at a restaurant in Picton,
Yeah.
which is so it's owned by a Swiss chef.
Yeah.
So worked with a lot of Swiss guys, a lot of German guys, so mostly European style
That can be
food.
pretty intense.
Yeah. I was actually very lucky. They were all very, very nice. So because obviously summer in New Zealand is our busy period, and then in the winter it dies off. So for the summer period, we would have a group of chefs come in from overseas.
Yeah.
They'd work for about 6 months and then they would leave for the winter.
Oh, so proper seasonal
So
work.
proper seasonal. So we used to say we imported chefs.
Yeah, wow.
So they'd come in, do the summer, hang out, live it up in the Marlborough Sounds and,
Yeah, wow.
hang out in the
amazing for them
wineries
too.
and stuff like that, learn a bit about a different culture, and then they would head back off to back to their home.
First kitchen I worked in, there was this Swiss dude. It was a pub, like it was rough as guts in North Melbourne, in Victoria.
Yeah.
And this guy would throw the fry pans from the hot section and bounce them. He took great pride in this and bounced them off the stainless steel backing that would land in the sort of slop stink. Where I'd get this like tidal wave of mayonnaise and brown dishwater all over my greasy black apron.
Delicious.
It was just like absolute horror story. But the truth is, I still fell in love with it, even though it was that kind of like dodgy and full on. I just loved the fact that there was so many crazy people in the kitchen and so much exposure to just different people of different ethnicity, different sexual orientation, different
well, it was definitely...
It was just a wild place where people could be themselves,
Yeah. It was definitely one of my favourite parts of it, was meeting so many different people from all over the world and learning all different sorts of things from, their country, the kind of food that they like to cook, their background, their upbringing, like all that sort of stuff. And cool. Made some really, really cool friends along the way as well.
The camaraderie is awesome. So what are we looking for here? So green chili. Why green chili nahm Jim, not a like a red one? Tell me about it.
So I prefer the green one with seafood.
Yeah, okay.
So nahm Jim is in Thai translate to dipping sauce.
Yep.
So most people will use it with like a seafood. It goes really nice on fresh oysters.
Yeah, awesome.
It goes well with scallops, fish, anything really. It is very versatile though. I usually choose the green over the red. Red I kind of like to more do with meats.
Yeah.
Goes really well with that. But yeah, it packs a bit more of a punch, I reckon.
Yeah, cool. And so, when I tasked you today with coming up with a recipe, why this? What is it? What speaks to you about this sort of cooking and this sort of food that makes you feel really, I don't know, like inspires you, feels like it represents you? In what way?
So I really love seafood for starters.
Yeah.
So obviously living in the Marlborough Sounds, fresh
yeah.
seafood on tap, just absolutely loved it. Scallops was definitely one of my favourites. But yeah, we don't get prawns over there.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well they don't come in, we don't have fresh prawns, especially in Marlborough anyway.
Learned something today. I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, so absolutely love prawns since been living in Australia.
Yeah.
Something that I really like cooking.
I mean, who doesn't? Put
Any
a shrimp on the
kind of
barbie,
any kind of seafood is my jam. But yeah, I really love the fresh flavours that come through from like Thai cooking.
Yeah.
All the different ingredients, like fresh aromats. You got your lemongrass and your lime leaf, all those sorts of things. They just all have such amazing fresh flavours. Yeah. And when you balance them out, they really just work so well together.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I completely fell in love with when I moved up here, and it's been a while now, is just the way that these ingredients are so prominent in this region because of this is where they're from. Like, look at the galangal. Like, you buy this you can just snap this with your hands, But in the big city, it'd be this woody old,
dried up, like No, I absolutely love the fresh ingredients. Yeah, very, very cool. So I'm just pounding this down. I'm not going to do a very fine sauce. I'm going to leave it kind of a bit chunky,
Yeah, cool.
so that when we do put it on the prawns, it'll actually hold itself on there rather than just spilling off. So usually it is a more finer sauce, but today we're going to make it chunky.
Now, mate, you just went back to the mother country and got married.
Yes, I did. Yes.
That was
very
must
exciting.
have been a very exciting time. And
It was. Yeah. It was amazing. The most beautiful day.
yeah. Apart from the fact you
was-
ended up cooking, I gather. Cooking for your own wedding.
Yeah, well, you know, I am a sucker for punishment. But no, it worked out well. My dad is amazing. He sourced pretty much all of the seafood between him and his friends and my uncles and cousins. Everybody pitched in, went diving, went fishing, went hunting.
Yeah, wow.
You know,
Your dad
and then
sounds like a bit of a character from what you've told me. He's a bit of a wild man, I
he's
gather.
an absolute legend, that man. I
Yeah.
tell you, he's one of a kind.
Lives in the bush, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. If he could, he would.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, anything fishing, hunting, diving, he's there. He loves it, lives for it.
And I understand he got a few oysters for the wedding.
Yes, good couple of sacks that he just went
and
out.
not your favourite ingredient.
Definitely not my favourite. I wasn't a fan. I was like, I'd like to like them, but it's not something that I can stomach.
I love oysters. Oh.
But no, he was very adamant that we were going to have oysters at the wedding.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, he put a massive effort with that.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I also had a good friend of mine from the sunny coast who I met working at the Spirit House.
Yeah.
He's a private chef, so he was there for the wedding and ended up in the kitchen with me for 3 days prior. Absolute legend. Love him for it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So yeah, no, it was great. We had a good time. It doesn't feel like work when you've got family around to keep you company and talk to you while you're doing it.
I talk about that all the time anyway. I mean, I find it the way we all gravitate to the kitchen anyway. It's our happy place for most of us.
Oh, definitely.
And you know, people ask me all the time, do I cook when I'm not at work? I mean, I cook regardless of work. I love it. I cook every day. You know, I really take a great pleasure in the alchemy and preparation of food. You know, like it's a very special experience.
It is. It brings people together. That's what I love about food. You know, you can cook a beautiful meal, whether you're at a restaurant or at your home. Depends, whatever day of the week it is, whether it's a celebration or you're just out for dinner, and you can have people around a table and you've got something to talk about. You've got something that's bringing everyone together, something to enjoy. And it's one of those like family time where you can just gather around and share a meal together, whether you're cooking it together or not. It's definitely one of my favourite things.
Home?
Yes, but not very often.
I would have thought you would have done it the whole time.
No, I'm pretty lazy at home when it comes to cooking. I do enjoy cooking at home. Yeah. But yeah, I don't do it as much as I would like to.
Is there a favourite dish your wife likes you to prepare, or?
Not really. She does love a good stir fry, which is good. I mean, it's pretty easy for me. So
you feel like that's a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, so you can kind of just whip up any kind of veggies and noodles or rice or whatever. So yeah, it works well. Yeah.
So it's a labour of love, obviously. You're pounding away.
Yes.
What's the difference between I've got a lot of people who just want to throw it in the blender. What's the sorry, it's raining leaves here. What's the what's the thought behind that?
So the difference between just chucking it in a blender and pounding it out. So what you want to do is you want to bring out all of the nice flavours and juices from the ingredients that you're using. If you're just chucking it in a blender, you're kind of just beating it to a pulp. And it's just, you're breaking it down rather than just like slowly bruising out.
Certainly
all
the fragrance right now of that like maceration and breaking all the fibres down is really intoxicating. But what I also love is, like you said, the texture that's achieved by the way that the sauce can become fibrous and really adhere to whatever you're serving it with. Yeah,
so you can change the thickness or the coarseness of it to suit whatever it is that you're putting it with.
It's one thing I think that a lot of maybe home cooks and junior cooks don't think about as much as maybe as they should, is just the texture of things is so so important and has so much power in the overall experience of a dish. Like if something's thin and watery versus something being quite viscous and kind of, you know, oily or greasy or crunchy. You know, these things have a profound effect on the way we taste food.
Definitely, yep. You could have the same ingredients.
Yeah.
You could make it and I could make it, and it could be completely different. It depends
Absolutely.
on the process that you use to get there, and the way that you balance it out. All right, so this is almost pounded out, ready to go. So then we're going to chuck in some palm sugar, some fish sauce, and some fresh lime juice, and we're going to season it up.
Did you put garlic in there?
I did.
Did you?
Yep.
Oh, wow. What do you need? Palm sugar?
Yes, palm sugar. So we'll chuck a bit of that in.
Yep.
Pound that out.
And fish sauce. There we go. Get that boy ready.
So you got to watch out for the chilli flying around.
So something I did want to chat to you about today, you and I have touched on it in the kitchen before, is just some of your experiences coming up through the ranks and being a female chef in what's been a largely male-dominated world for some ridiculous reason for a long time. And so. Just, how that has been for you. Like, I think that we like I said, we've looked at it from different angles, but what are some of your thoughts on it?
So, so definitely being a female in the kitchen is a lot different than obviously being a male in there. Quite often you are looked past, whether it be for a position or even just a customer coming up to the counter to say thank you for the dinner.
They can't believe you're the chef.
Yeah, so
I'd
be the head chef standing right in the middle of the pass.
Yeah.
And they would look straight past me to the
big tall bloke.
closest bloke that they can find.
Like, seriously.
And say thank you, chef, for the dinner. You know,
that's
depending on who you're with.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that I used to work with would actually turn around and be like, well, this is our head chef. This is the one that's, in charge of the beautiful meal. But yeah, it just depends on the kind of place that you're in. I haven't had too much problems throughout my career. Most people are very, very open, very kind about women being in the kitchen these days. I know when I did my apprenticeship, my boss, it was the first female apprentice that he'd taken on, which was, a lot of people in the kitchen didn't think that I would survive. They kind of, would put the pressure on to,
see if she can
see if I can hack it.
Which is just fucking bullshit anyway.
So it can make it a bit harder for you. But I mean, I'm kind of one of those people that I'll just make them like me.
Well, you're a very likeable person.
So, you know,
look, at Nuna, we've always tried to have a meritocracy, to be honest. And over the 22 years or 21 years of the restaurant now, there's ebbs and flows. There's times when it gets a bit too blokey and I don't like it. The place just doesn't have the same feeling about it. And I've had times when it's, a very female-orientated kitchen. Which, we're currently in a situation right now where almost every senior role in the whole building is female. Who cares, male, female to me, but it's interesting that that's the way it's worked out. I mean, for me, it's all about the chops and the skills and the leadership. So we've got head chef, executive sous, som, both restaurant managers, both events, and king boss of them all, my wife, basically, all females in those leadership roles. It is interesting. It's good to see that that's being, things are changing, really. And I find it horrendous when I hear these stories of, because that wasn't my experience. I'm a big bloke. I'm a big bloke, and that sort of stuff didn't affect me. So I'm always so interested to hear the stories.
No, I do know a lot of female chefs that have been, passed up on opportunities and things because of the fact that they're female. There's still a lot of, ego-driven males out there that won't even let you get a look in, sort of thing. They'll kind of just be like, you're a female, you're weak, you can't handle it. So,
which is not my experience, actually.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, You guys seem pretty tough.
I
pretty
mean,
tough
we
in
are
the space
pretty,
I work in.
We
I know
are
that.
pretty tough, that's for sure. But that's the thing, and until you actually give us a go, then you don't realise.
That smells so good.
Yeah, it's coming together
That's
nicely.
the other thing too. North Queensland limes, they're pretty damn juicy.
They are delicious, delicious limes.
I'll taste that.
Yeah. Give it a whirl.
Ooh,
Bit zingy.
yummy. Very, very delicious. More salty?
Yes,
Yeah.
more fish sauce. Definitely more fish sauce.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yep. All right, so we're going to set that aside and we're going to start charring our pineapples.
So what are you looking for here?
So what we want is a nice sweet pineapple.
Yep.
And then we're just going to char it off so it gets a nice bit of black on there. Just to, give it a bit of slightly bitter but not quite, overpowering. Just to, bring out those flavours within the pineapple. But also...
Do you want this bit? I can put this
no,
over here.
that's all right.
I'll plant that in the garden, mate. Get some...
Grow your own.
grow your own.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. My finger lime tree has 2 finger limes on it. 2.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Nice.
Not enough for probably not even enough for 1 drink, but that's.
Well done.
I did well with soursops this year.
Oh,
The
yes.
garden, yeah.
Yep. Love soursop. I'd never
I love
tried it until
soursop.
I came to Cairns.
I love soursop.
Definitely one of my new favourites, that's for sure. Really love to make a dessert with it.
So not using the core, just the outside.
Just the outside, yep. Alright, so we're going to chuck these straight on the grill there.
Fantastic. And have you done much cooking over fire or?
No, not before I came to Nunu, actually. I mean, I did a little bit at Rickshaw's.
Yep.
We had big coal pits there.
Yeah.
But that was kind of my first time, cooking meats and lots of fresh roti. Lots. But yeah, so that was my first time with open fire. And then, obviously at Nunu.
Yeah, cool.
Learning how it all works.
Oh. Listen to that.
Sizzle. Love the sizzle.
Love the sizzle. So I've got the perfect little plate here for you, buddy.
Perfect.
So
Love
what's
love
the
it.
plan here? We're going to get the aromats ready for the top of the
So
dish?
for the top of the prawn, so just lots of nice lime leaf and some lemongrass.
Fantastic.
A little bit of shallot. We're just going to put that over the top.
Beautiful.
So scoop it up together. Some nice fine chopping with the aromats, so that it's nice and easy to chew
Yeah,
through.
Awesome.
Alright.
So lime leaf threads, you've probably got
Yep.
I'm expecting some pretty fine work here, Ali. No pressure,
Hope my
mate.
knife's sharp enough. Yeah, lime leaf's one of my favourite ingredients.
Yeah.
You can use it on so many different things. Nice fresh flavours. You can infuse it in different sauces. You can slice it up, have it fresh. Really delicious.
Have you ever used lemon leaf?
No,
Do the same thing. When I
Yeah.
was in Vietnam, I went to one of those little cooking school type things, and they were using lemon leaf in much the same way. It was beautiful. I mean, not
Okay,
as
yeah.
perfumed as lime, but
Yeah.
it was still super,
Pretty close.
super delicious. Yeah,
Yeah.
really, really fragrant, really zesty. Look at that. And teaching the guys at work, how to do that has just been something I've really loved watching you do. Taking really great pride in their workspace, in the way that they cut things, and the way that they store things to really, give the guests the absolutely best experience they can.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I find that, training someone to do something like this, it takes a lot of persistence for them, a lot of patience, because most people, they pick up the knife and they're like, oh yeah, that looks easy.
Yeah.
And then you end up with chunks this big.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they realise, it's not as easy as it looks. And then they actually have to take the time to practice and practice and practice. I had one of the apprentices ask me the other day, how long did it take you to learn how to do that? And I said, well, every day for about 6 months, I would cut a full container worth. and they were like, whoa. So, you know, it comes with a lot of practice.
Yeah, it's one thing that I've certainly noticed, I think more so over the last few years, just as the, you know, as the generations change, and that it's really, you've really got to coach and nurture the younger guys, girls team to not be so impatient. You know, like it's a long journey. You know, one that I haven't completed. I've been cooking for, you know, 30 years now, and I'll be cooking for the next 30 for sure. It's not something that is just achieved overnight. It really does take a lot of practice and a lot of persistence and a lot of perseverance and passion and determination to get there, you know. Definitely. And even there, then you realise there's not there. They just got moved further down the road.
Exactly. Once you get there, then the next there is even further away.
And even harder to get to.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful.
Little threads.
The perfume coming off the chopping board is
so nice.
So beautiful.
It's one of my favourites, hey, it really is. And so versatile, you know, you can use it savoury, sweet, you can use it in drinks, you can, you know, any of your sauces.
I've got to be honest, the pineapple plate's helping a lot as well. The pineapple plate's making it even better. How's that looking, Ali?
Yeah, good. Starting to get a bit of colour on there.
And just the infusion of that beautiful hardwood as well. The smell is just amazing. Yeah. What else do we need, boss?
Next we're going to go lemongrass.
Yep, I reckon lemongrass is one of my favourites too.
Yes, yep. Beautiful flavours, lemongrass. And like the lime leaf, so versatile. You can use it in, you know, sauces, garnish, anything really.
I think the other big thing for me with these sorts of ingredients and the way that we use them is making sure that it's just the freshest of the fresh. It's not, you can't use yesterday's knife work. You know, you've got to, it's got to be part of the mantra and mindfulness of each day's work, that
daily
part
routine.
of your daily routine, that part of your preparation for service is some quiet time at the board with your favourite knife.
Yes.
You know, and it's really meditative and really good for the soul.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, for me it just keeps, I mean, I love knives. I hope I don't have to say that in court one day, but no, I'm joking. I just really love knives, like a lot.
I think between the two of us, we probably have way too many knives.
Absolutely.
But that's all right. We find a purpose for
exactly. And so that really quiet time at your chopping board, just doing that last little bit of super fresh prep that you know that's just going to elevate those dishes to the top. You know, I think it's the thing that actually, you know, you've always got the deep base note of the sauces and the relishes and all that sort of stuff we make, but that last little final preparation is just super important.
Yeah, definitely. The same again with this one, just trying to get it as fine as possible so that when you do bite into it, it does just melt down in your mouth and it's not just like straw. So depending on the lemongrass, this one's actually really nice and fresh.
Yeah.
So it can get quite woody.
So I think one thing, you know, you would have noticed being at Nunu too, like we are by no means an Asian restaurant. That's not who we are.
No.
But we still, you know, use a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, we can incorporate it into our meals in different ways, which is amazing.
And so one of your main roles at Nunu would be calling the pass.
Yes. Yep.
How do you find that experience? How do you find the pass as a section? It's a lot of people look to it and think it's easy and think that
they do.
think
yes.
that's the sort of role they want to have, and then you get there and realise it's not all just you know, highlighters and yelling out orders.
Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't realise that. I actually did have someone say the other day to me, you know, all you do is put up food, like, or all you do is call dockets. But it is literally like there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And you know, you're like the instructor or the inductor. You know, like
the conductor of the orchestra.
Yeah.
Orchestra.
So you're the one that is, you know, you're in charge of the whole kitchen.
Yep.
And you are the one that is, you know, pretty much saying the way that service needs to go.
Yeah.
So whatever you tell someone to do, that needs to then translate to what the other person is doing,
Yeah.
and vice versa with, you know, everyone in the kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of your strong suits there is that communication and making sure that all sections are, you know, in swing with each other and in step.
Yeah,
You know, they're the best services. I don't call the pass much anymore, but I just used to love it. And I really, really loved that you know, a good night and a great service when it just feels like you're in flow state and everyone's high and up and really cooking some amazing food, and the camaraderie and the kind of competition to see who's the best, you know, it's just,
it does, yeah.
It's super intoxicating.
Yeah.
You know,
It makes a massive difference. Like, you know, you set the standard for the service.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
the way that you know, are talking to people, the way that you are setting the standard, setting the flow, the timing, everything, is the way that the chefs are going to respond to what they're doing, and the way that they're going to present themselves.
And what are we looking for? How do you know when they're ready? It's looking beautifully caramelised.
Nice caramelisation on there.
Beautiful.
You don't want it too soft, so still quite firm.
So beautiful.
But nicely caramelised. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mix that up together.
Oh, wow. We're in for a treat, I reckon.
Oh yeah. This one is going to be the shallot.
Yep.
So just a little bit of shallot in there just to give it a bit more flavour.
Beautiful, fresh,
Yep.
sweet. So when it comes to leadership, Ali, what do you think are the hallmarks of great leadership? What are some of the tactics you employ to inspire the team and get them to ultimately do the thing that you need them to do, which is in the best interest of the whole kitchen?
Yes.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
So one of my main thing is, like I said before, you know, teaching the young ones from the get-go.
Yep.
So, you know, when they first start, teaching them how important it is to have a sharp knife,
Yep.
to be able to do the job properly, and efficiently as well. So one of the things, like we said before, about patience,
Yeah.
and learning things properly
Yeah.
from the start. It's definitely one of my passions is teaching and training, you know, just passing on my knowledge to the younger generation, you know, so they can get to where they want to be and
absolutely.
You know, be successful within the kitchen, because it can be a tough gig.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, a lot of them, you know, I've seen a lot come and go, and then when I was doing my training, started off with a team of 15.
Yep.
And ended up with a team of 5. So that was, you know, in the
That's a pretty serious attrition
couple
rate.
of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost majority of our class. So yeah, I think people, they don't realise how intense it can be and how much
absolutely.
you know, hard work actually goes into learning everything and actually having the drive to want to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to get ready for our pineapple salsa.
Yes.
So we're just going to do just a little bit of fresh aromats, and then just like a nice little seasoning on that one.
Yeah, cool.
So we don't want it to overpower the nahm or the prawns. So it's just kind of a nice little additive to each of it.
And pick up some of those flavours that aren't in the nahm yet.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of chilli.
Red this time.
Yeah, we're going to go red with this one.
A little more floral.
Yep. So it's just going to go nice and fine with this one. It's just going to be a little bit of extra heat for it. But
I love it spicy. It's right up my alley, mate.
Definitely get that through with the nahm, so. Chuck the pineapple in.
The pineapple looks so sticky and yummy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good.
The concentration of flavours is so lovely. The way the moisture's driven off, and you just end up with almost like the pure essence of pineapple.
Yep. Delicious.
A little bit tart, definitely nice and sweet.
Yep.
Great caramelisation of the bark. Almost a
Yes,
savoury
yeah.
flavour from the
Like a little bit smoky from
from the timber.
the timber, yeah.
So do you have aspirations to go back to New Zealand one day? What's the plan there? What are your thoughts around
One day I would definitely like to.
back to the South Island or?
Yeah, I would love to be closer to my family.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the hardest things about, you know, being over here and being so far away is just missing out on that family time, especially with my nieces and nephews.
Yep.
You know, you don't get to see them growing up. Yeah.
Righto, what else do we need, mate?
Right, so we're going to get some fresh herbs.
You want me to pick those or you want to pick
We'll
those?
just grab some of those off.
I'll get some
Bit
curry.
of curry, bit of mint. Some real nice
I think
flavours
too,
in
I've always, you know, when I think about cooking, I also just love the hanging out with other people.
there. Yeah.
And it's particularly around the menial tasks. Like I've always loved those jobs like potting peas and
Yeah.
broad beans and something that sort of takes a bit of time. Picking herbs,
Yeah.
I've got no quarrel picking herbs, I'll tell you what.
No. If you got someone there, you know, you can chat to, talk about food, talk about the job you're doing, and you know, it's good fun.
That just
Should be good.
smells so good.
Oh yeah, smell that again.
Oh,
So fresh.
yeah. Mint's
Love it.
elite. I got a
Love
thing
it.
for mint, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never used to, but these days I love it. It's almost like you can push the barometer up with heat more if you've had more mint.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong.
And do you bind that with anything or just
So we're
loose?
just going to put a little bit of lime juice in there.
Yep.
And maybe just a little touch of fish sauce,
My favourite
And
thing in the world.
just to give it a little bit of seasoning.
Yep.
But you don't want to overpower everything else. So
Oh, that looks great. You know, that contrast of fresh, cooked, spicy, sour, salty.
yep.
I mean, that'd be like breakfast for me, I reckon, right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can have your wheat bix. Give me, give me pineapple salsa.
Yeah. It's my favourite. The 4 S's.
What are the 4 S's? Oh, here we go.
Sweet,
Yep.
Salty, sour, spicy. The 4 S's.
The
Can't go
4
wrong.
S's. Righto.
Next we're going to prepare the prawns.
Let's
so we're
do
gonna
it.
butterfly them.
Butterfly the prawns. Excellent.
Yep.
Now you've got some tiger prawns there. I'm going to say it. They're my favourites in
Yes,
Australia.
yep.
That's a contentious issue. Some people do think they're, you know, the king prawns or the yamba prawns or anyway. Nothing beats a
Love
tiger
the
prawn.
tigers.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're just going to cut them open through the head,
Yep.
just to get that open.
So you're going to cook these guys shells on.
Yes, yep.
Beautiful.
Yep, so we're going to open them out, clean them up slightly, and then we're going to butterfly them out into the pan. So we're just going to cut down the middle, not too far because you don't want to go through that shell,
Yep.
just enough so that you can open them out.
And the shell will help with the protection of the flesh too when it
Yes.
cooks,
Yep,
and impart
definitely.
that beautiful
Yeah.
aroma you get from the shells as they toast.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful flavours. So yeah, like I said, we don't get nice fresh prawns in New Zealand. So coming to Australia, almost every menu you see has
Prawns.
prawns on it.
But could you do this dish that you're doing now, say with, is it pawa? How do I say it?
Power.
Pawa.
abalone.
You got the pawa.
Power. The powwow.
Yep.
We call it the powwow, which is absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I actually haven't tried it with nahm, but I reckon it would be pretty delicious.
I think it'd be very, very delicious. I tell you what, though, you could be importing a lot of the flavours, the ingredients to get them there. I did a gig
Definitely.
with Peter Gordon in Auckland a couple of years ago, and I wanted to use finger limes, and you know how
Yes.
know how prolifically we use finger limes at Nunu.
Yes.
And so I was like, yeah, I need a couple of kilos. Well, in Auckland, I think they're $180 a kilo.
Yeah, they're very hard to come by, that's
And
for sure.
You know, what do we pay for them here? $40 a kilo, and they're just incredible. Freshly picked that day.
Yeah. Just going to chuck this one on the heat.
What have you got there?
Just a bit of butter there that we're going to dress our prawns with to cook it. Alright, so now we're just going to clean them out. So we're just going to butterfly them up, And then we're just going to pull all the contents out of the heads of them.
Yep.
Might just be easier if I use my hands with that one.
So you're
There's a
taking
big
out
boy.
taking out the guzz.
Yeah, the goose.
This could take a moment
Yeah.
to get these all done. Okay, so we're about to throw a couple of shrimps on the barbie, or what have we got? You need some oil.
Yep, a little bit of oil.
There you are, buddy.
Just going to grab this hot pan here. I'm going to chuck it over here on the barbecue.
Yep.
We're going to fill her up.
Looks like that pan is going to fit the prawns
I
perfectly.
reckon we'll be bang on. We're going to lay them on. Starting to sizzle a little bit.
Yep.
Nice and hot.
So we're going shells down into the pan.
Yep. Those in.
Oh, just
I'm
again,
going to stay open, but that's alright.
that's all okay. Is there anything more evocative of the great Australian outdoors than prawns over fire? Honestly.
No, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, most of the seasoning comes through the sauce. Then we're just going to put a good amount of butter on there.
Oh wow, deep into that,
Yeah.
into the bellies.
Right
In my belly.
in my belly.
In my belly. It's almost like the prawns are going to poach from the butter on the inside, but
Yeah,
get
so
that really
it's like
aggressive.
honking and
Oh, mate, that's electrifying.
so really just get that going. Tuck those in the oven. A little bit more butter on there.
So a moment long for those guys. What do we need to get this beautiful dish of yours together?
So we're going to grab our plate.
Oh, yep.
Yep. So a nice plate here. Going to put some nice fresh banana leaf. Slice that down there.
I actually love these plates. They're made by a local potter.
They are awesome plates.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them. Yeah.
Cool Earth Ceramics is her name.
Yeah.
Charring, very, very beautiful plates. Used to make everything for the restaurant.
Yeah.
Now it's only a few select pieces because you know, we're pretty
Love
big.
a full set, mate.
We're pretty busy. We do a lot
Yeah.
of covers.
So we're just going to finally slice some young coconut.
Yep.
So really nice and soft. So that's just going to add a little bit of texture to our garnish for the prawn.
Yummy.
So we're going to slice that up.
Yes.
Fine. And then I reckon those prawns will be ready.
Beautiful.
And we'll take those out.
And I'll get your salsa out here,
that up.
pal. You know what I love? I can hear those prawns are nearly ready.
Sizzling.
Because the sound changes, there's the moisture dries off. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, you do this gig long enough and it's like every sense can be connected. Your nose, the smell, the sound, everything.
Yep.
I'll never forget, we used to make souffles and you'd have the mixer going in the corner of the kitchen and you could hear when the egg whites started to stiffen, so you'd
yeah.
run back across, you know.
That's when you know you've been doing it for a while. Hey? All right, that should be enough of that one. Nice and cooked.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
Sizzle, sizzle.
Oh, they are like perfectly cooked. You can see the way the tails are curling up and the flesh is like
Just
translucent.
come off there.
Yep.
Yep. Perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is just going to lay them out on the plate.
Yep.
And then we're just going to dress them up, really.
My mouth is actually watering. I'm not joking. I am pretty damn
You're ready.
pumped.
You're ready.
Yeah. Ali, I mean, what a cracking dish. The smells are just incredible. It looks so delicious. I mean, there's just no question about that. I can't wait to give it a crack. Oh, that is so delicious. Smoky, and sweet and crunchy, beautiful savoury flavour. It is so refreshing and so delicious. I can't think of anything that's like screams more great outdoors and that delicious sort of North Queensland palate. That is absolutely delicious, my friend. Ali, what an absolute pleasure to share stories today and cook with you. I just really, really love your time and the way that you tell me all about this wonderful adventure you've been on, and you're such a fantastic asset to our kitchen.
Thank you.
And to the cooking profession, you know, like you just love you, buddy.
Thanks, boss.
Thanks so much.